Well, I've already gotten the question about the Christian Entrepreneur Network and our new and going and growing plans for 2019. Here it is. Stan, what's this Sioux Falls, Omaha, Minneapolis stuff all about? What do you mean? Well, let me explain to you a little bit of our intentions, quite briefly, I hope. We are an internet, digital, worldwide organization. It's happening. I actually have online students in 168 different countries. We provide spokesperson videos for people in all parts of the world. We do this all the time. People are asking me to present this particular product, this particular program, this particular company, and recently I did. The client was in Australia and the company was in Dubai and I was in Arizona, and we worked together and produced a spokesperson video. That's the world we live in. We have clients and customers and colleagues literally all over the world. But my point is, that's never good enough. You have to have a digital presence, but you must also have, just as Jesus demonstrated, an incarnational presence. It has to be people on the planet who show up in place. And I said, where can we begin to actually have people, real live people on the ground, beginning to do the work of the Christian Entrepreneur Network? It's a long search story, but here's what I decided. And I ran it by my friends in each of these areas, and they're on board and they're with us. I was particularly surprised when I began to meet some of my clients and friends in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Yeah, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And I remember going there and said, this is not the Sioux Falls that I remembered years and years ago when we played football in this town. This is a going and growing city. And sure it was. And then I read the story of the strength, the entrepreneurial strength finder put out by the Gallup organization in Omaha. And Jim Clifton, who is the CEO, tells the story about how truly the startup nation can oftentimes best be described in this small city, but growing city of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And I said, that's it. That's where we're going to begin. It's got a godly heritage, it's got rugged individuals, it's got pioneer spirit, and it is more and more attracting people who are entrepreneurial, startup-based, people who very much reflect the values that we have. And so I spoke to my good friend Virgil and his colleagues, and we're going to begin in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And then I have a number of friends and colleagues in Minneapolis, St. Paul, where I spent a good deal of my career. Still back and forth there. We maintain a little cottage in Minnesota. And so we said, that's where we'll have our big, 3 million people marketplace, Minneapolis, St. Paul, a going and growing place. We'll have a connection, a real life presence there. And then just kind of arc it down, Minneapolis, Sioux Falls, and there we are in Omaha, Lincoln area. I have family in that arena. I have friends there. It is, Warren Buffett is from Omaha. And it is not just Cowtown and not just Cornhusker Place. It's a place where some of the top-notch entrepreneurial work in the world is being done. And so we decided that we're going to begin by trying to have true people, incarnational presence, where people can connect to us, where people can connect to one another. The Christian Entrepreneur Network will have franchises or charters or people simply coming together in Minneapolis, St. Paul, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and the Lincoln-Omaha corridor. That's how we're going to begin our putting it together. Our hopes will be to kind of make that arc into a diamond by going a little bit east to Champaign Urbana, where we have colleagues and friends who are also Christian entrepreneurs. And then we will see, almost on a franchise basis, if you raise your hand and say, I want to start a Christian entrepreneur network in my town, in my city, in my place. Let's talk about that. That's the Jesus plan for how things go and grow. Is you find people who raise their hand and in a spirit say, I'll plant that church, I'll plant that company, I'll plant that concept, I'll plant it right here. I'll go out and I'll be an entrepreneur for Christian entrepreneurs in my town, in my place, in the part of the world that God has put me. That's how we're beginning, and that's how we continue to want to go and grow. And that's the story of Omaha, Lincoln, Sioux Falls, and Minneapolis, St. Paul. Thank you.